Adak, Alaska. Adak/êdæk/, formerly Adak Station, is a town located on Adak Island, in the Aleutians West Census Area, Alaska, United States. At the 2010 census the population was 326, up from 316 in 2000. It is the westernmost municipality in the United States and the southernmost city in Alaska. The city is the former location of the Adak Army Base and Adak Naval Operating Base, NAVFAC Adak. There are no radio stations within 200 miles of Adak. Radio can be received in Adak only through satellite or shortwave receivers. Adak is located on ๊eɪdæk Bay, on Adak Island, in the Andrianof Islands group of the Aleutian Islands Recording District, and in the 3rd Judicial District. It lies 1,200 miles southwest of Anchorage and 450 miles west of Dutch Harbor at 51.872 degrees north, 176.636 degrees west, near the Russian end of the arc that makes up this volcanic island chain. Flight time to Anchorage is 3 hours or longer depending on weather. Adak is the southernmost community in Alaska and on the same latitude as ๊eɪdæk in Canada, and Brussels, Belgium. It is less than 3 degrees of latitude north of the 49th parallel, which forms the western part of the land border between the contiguous United States and Canada. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, the city has a total area of 127.3 square miles, of which 122.4 square miles is land and 4.9 square miles is water. Adak lies in the subpolar oceanic climate zone, characterized by persistently overcast skies, moderated temperatures, high winds, and frequent cyclonic storms. Winter squalls produce wind gusts in excess of 100 knots. During the summer, extensive fog forms over the Bering Sea and North Pacific. Average temperatures range from 20 to 60 degrees F, but wind chill factors can be severe. Total precipitation is 64 inches annually, with an average accumulated snowfall of 100 inches, which however tends to melt soon after falling. With 263 rainy days per year, Adak has the second highest number of any inhabited locality in the United States after Hilo, Hawaii. The Aleutian Islands were historically occupied by the Unangax, more commonly known now as the Aleuts. The once heavily populated island was eventually abandoned in the early 19th century as the Aleutian Island hunters followed the Russian fur trade eastward, and famine set in on the Andrianof Island group. However, they continued to hunt and fish actively around the island over the years, until World War II broke out. Adak Army installations allowed U.S. forces to mount a successful offensive against the Japanese-held islands of Kiska and Attu. After the war, Adak was developed as a naval air station, playing an important role during the Cold War as a submarine surveillance center. Large earthquakes rocked the island in 1957, 1964, and 1977. At its peak, the station housed over 6,000 Naval and Coast Guard personnel and their families. In 1994, the base was downsized, and both family housing and schools were closed. The station officially closed on March 31, 1997, as a result of 1995 base realignment and closure commission. The Aleut Corporation purchased Adak's facilities under a land transfer agreement with the Department of the Interior and the U.S. Navy/Department of Defense. This agreement was finalized in March 2004. About 30 families with children relocated to Adak in September 1998. Most of them Aleut Corp shareholders, and the former high school was reopened at that time as a K-12 institution. The community incorporated as a second-class city in April 2001. Substantially all of the infrastructure and facilities on Adak are owned by Aleut Corporation, who is currently developing Adak as a commercial center via their subsidiary companies. For example, properties in active use are leased by Adak Commercial Properties, LLC. Since World War II, the U.S. Navy and Coast Guard developed facilities and recreation opportunities at Adak. At its peak, Adak had a college, a McDonald's restaurant, a Baskin-Robbins ice cream stand, movie theater, roller skating rink, swimming pool, ski lodge, bowling alleys, skeet range, auto hobby shop, photo lab, and racquetball and tennis courts. A new $18 million hospital was built in 1990, just 7 years prior to the closure of the station. By March 2003, 6 years after the closure of the station, most of these facilities had closed. Adak first appeared on the 2000 U.S. Census as a census-designated place, although it previously was the Adak Naval Station from 1970 to 90. In 2001, it formally incorporated as a city. As of the 2010 census, Adak was the only city in Alaska to have a majority Asian population. Akutan and Kodiak have Asian pluralities. As of the census of 2000, there were 316 people, 159 households, and 61 families residing in the city. The population density was 2.6 people per square mile. There were 884 housing units at an average density of 7.2 per square mile. The racial makeup of the city was 49.68% white, 1.27% Black or African American, 35.13% Native American, 9.81% Asian, 1.90% Pacific Islander, and 2.22% from 2 or more races. 5.06% of the population were Hispanic or Latino of any race. There were 159 households, out of which 18.2% had children under the age of 18 living with them, 28.9% were married couples living together, 2.5% had a female householder with no husband present, and 61.6% were non-families. 46.5% of all households were made up of individuals, and none had someone living alone who was 65 years of age or older. The average household size was 1.99 and the average family size was 2.90. In the city, the population was spread out with 18.7% under the age of 18, 9.5% from 18 to 24, 44.3% from 25 to 44, 26.3% from 45 to 64, and 1.3% who were 65 years of age or older. The median age was 35 years. For every 100 females, there were 184.7 males. For every 100 females age 18 and over, there were 188.8 males. The median income for a household in the city was $52,727, and the median income for a family was $53,889. Males had a median income of $46,429 versus $35,000 for females. The per capita income for the city was $31,747. About 3.3% of families and 4.7% of the population were below the poverty line, none of whom were under the age of 18 or over the age of 65. Water is derived from Lake Bonnie Rose, Lake de Marie, and Nurses Creek, stored in 7 water tanks throughout the community, and piped to facilities and housing units. The wastewater treatment system discharges through a marine outfall line to Colac Bay. The permitted landfill, Roberts Landfill, is a Class 2 with bale fill. Electricity is provided by TDX Adak. Adak's water system is known to have lead in it. There is one school located in the community, Adak School, operated by the Aleutian Region School District. In 2014 the Adak School had 25 students. It was previously served by the Adak Region School District, which closed in June 1996. Internet, though available, is expensive, with caps on data. Overage use is extremely expensive, and a monopoly exists because personal satellite internet is not available due to the satellite locations. Solar activity blocks communications during equinox seasons for several days spring and fall. There is no hospital, however there is Adak Community Health Center, managed by Eastern Aleutian Tribes, Inc. The health center provides family medicine, chronic care, and urgent care services and is staffed by a physician assistant or at times by a community health practitioner. There is no doctor, no blood supply, and limited medications to stabilize a patient awaiting a medical evacuation, weather permitting. Behavioral health is also provided via televideo and quarterly site visits. ʻeɪdæk sends a dentist 1 week per year to provide limited dental services, otherwise, dental services must be referred outside of Adak. Teleradiology and telemedicine are also present. Limited lab, pharmacy, and public health services are also available. The pharmacy medications are limited to acute medications. Filling of prescriptions from outside facilities usually cannot be accommodated. All visitors should bring plenty of their own medications as the health center stocks a very limited supply of chronic medications. Adak is classified as an isolated town/sub-regional center, located in EMS Region 2H in the Aleutians/Pribilof region. Emergency services have coastal and airport access to Adak. Auxiliary emergency healthcare is provided by Adak Volunteer Fire Department/EMS. A land exchange between Aleut Corp., the U.S. Navy, and the Department of the Interior transferred most of the former naval facilities to the Aleut Corp. In March 2004. A portion of the island remains within the Alaska Maritime National Wildlife Refuge, managed by the United States Fish and Wildlife Service. The U.S. Navy retains part of the north end of Adak Island and does annual sweeps of the Andrew Lake seawall for unexploded ordnance. Their website lists the institutional controls in place for all of Adak as part of the land exchange or interim conveyance. The Navy provides the trail maps as part of the ordnance awareness information required to be shown to all Adak residents and visitors. Adak currently provides a fueling port and crew transfer facility for a combination of Seattle and Alaskan-based fishing fleet and airport, docks, housing facilities, restaurant, grocery, and ship supply store are available. Adak Fisheries, LLC, an employer of a large seasonal staff, processes Pacific cod, pollock, mackerel, halibut, snow, and king crabs. 4 residents hold commercial fishing permits, primarily for ground fish. However, commercial fishing vessels based out of Seattle and other parts of Alaska provide most of the work for the fish plant by regularly offloading their catch in Adak. Because of its naval aviation past, Adak has an unusually large and sophisticated airport for the Aleutian Islands. The airport is currently operated by the State of Alaska Department of Transportation. Complete with an instrument landing system, Adak Airport has no control tower and 2 200-wide asphalt-paved runways at 19 elevation. One runway measures 7,790 long while the other runway measures 7,605. Alaska Airlines operates twice weekly Boeing 737 passenger jet service from Anchorage. At present, flights operate each Wednesday and Saturday. Occasionally, extra seasonal flights are operated to meet the demand of the fishing season. Other facilities in Adak include 3 deep water docks and fueling facilities. The city has requested funds to greatly expand the Sweeper Cove small boat harbor, including new breakwaters, a 315-foot dock and new moorage floats. There are approximately 16 miles of paved and primitive roads on Adak, all privately owned by the Aleut Corporation. The Aleut are also seeking to develop the water system, which has been well maintained and designed for a larger naval population, as an export industry. Land use permits are required for all non-residents visiting Aleut Corporation land. Permits can be obtained from the Aleut Enterprise LLC office in Anchorage, or from the harbor master at the port of Adak. Lodging is available from the Aleutian Housing Authority, Little Michael Lodges and Rentals, and Aleutian Outfitters. They offer both long-term and short-term accommodations in former naval officer housing. Housing units are heated and furnished. It is advisable to make reservations in advance. The cabins once maintained within the Alaska Maritime National Wildlife Refuge have fallen into disrepair and are unsafe to occupy. The cabin at 3 Arm Bay sits on an archaeological site that was transferred to the Aleut Corporation, and is no longer available for rental to the general public. Camping is possible without a permit on Alaska Maritime National Wildlife Refuge lands, but is generally not recommended due to the harsh climate. The wind on Adak is highly variable and often unpredictable. Gusts can exceed 100 knots or more. During the calmer summer months, sustained wind speeds average in the low double digits, gusting to 50 knots or more. Adak offers 16 miles of paved and gravel roads. These can be explored on foot, by bicycle, or by renting a truck. There is only one vehicle rental business on Adak. Hunting and fishing are bountiful sports in Adak. Hunters particularly prize Adak caribou, the largest of which can exceed 700 pounds. There is no bag limit for cows, but in 2007, the Board of Game passed new regulations for bulls. If you want to get to the south end of the island where the majority of the caribou are, there are currently 2 licensed local boat charter services, Aleutian Adventure Tours and Homeward Bound Charters. Anglers can find large to enormous halibut in the Kagalaska Straits. Hunters must possess an Alaska state hunting license and a harvest ticket for each animal taken. Non-residents of Alaska must also possess the appropriate big game tag. Anglers require a sport fishing license. All areas of the island with roads are owned by the Aleut Corporation, and a special permit is required for all non-residents accessing this private property. No ATVs are permitted within the wildlife refuge, and the Aleut Corporation only allows ATVs on the roads and trails, not on the tundra. Under Alaska state law, wastage is illegal. Birders generally do not consider Adak as exciting as Attu, but access to Attu is very limited. That being said, the high winds are a blessing for birders. Many vagrants from Asia and elsewhere can be spotted. Bald eagles are ubiquitous. Visitors not insistent upon scoring first North America sightings will find plenty of variety to enjoy. See http://www.franklinhaus.com/adak/adak.html for complete information on birding Adak. Developed trails are limited and most are not maintained. It is possible to hike on the tundra, but visitors are advised both to prepare for frequent weather changes and to never hike alone. Nightlife and dining opportunities are few on Adak. The Adak General Store is open sporadically during the week. 2 restaurants operate in Adak, the Bay 5 and Blue Bird Cafe. Adak is served by the Aleutian Region Schools. The Adak School serves grades K-12. Coordinates: 51°5219 and 176°3810W/51.872° and 176.636°W/51.872, -176.636.